Hi everybody, Lori here for Simon Says Stamp. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've got a fun floral, flirty project to share with you. Going to be featuring the Flower Power Stencil. Just came out in the new Celebrate release. Starting with the Simon Says Stamp glass mat, using a waffle flower grip mat, a panel of hammermill cardstock, and here's the star of the show, the Flower Power Stencil. But here's the catch, I'm only using that single little tiny bloom. Repetition is our friend today. So a little bit of Post-it tape just to mask off around it. That way I only get the ink in the little bloom. I'm going to blend this bloom repeatedly, starting with Bubblegum. And I'm working my way through the positively saturated rainbow. And it's going to be a delightful time. Now, I don't want this to be perfect. You could definitely go for the perfect look, and I'd be here for that. But I'm going wonky. I'm going flirty. So I'm kind of rotating the stencil, and I don't want it to be straight. Some of the little blooms are higher, some are lower, some are darker, some are lighter. I do use a lot of inks, and I'm using the little mini Simon Says Stamp blender brushes. Here we have the color blush, so we're working our way into the reds. And now here is a rainbow splash ink, but I love that crimson red color. It's a punch in the face. And then once I get done with a row, since those are all kind of pinks and reds, and now I'm working my way into the oranges and yellow, I do carefully kind of clean the stencil off. That way I can get somewhat of a true color, but I don't always clean the stencil, especially when I'm working, you know, kind of in the same color family. Like right here, I didn't clean the stencil. I went from a darker orange to a lighter orange. And by the way, if I forget to mention an ink color or a product, everything that I'm using will be listed in the description box if you're watching on YouTube. So here we're finishing off this row with Lemonade. Again, I clean my stencil just gently. I used a little stamp chamois. Working our way into the greens and aquas. Actually, this whole row is going to be all greens. I did Celery. Here we have Limalicious. And these two are very, very close to each other. I'm trying to be a little heavier handed here so you get a slightly different look. Some of the blooms could be more different. Some of them are pretty close together, and I would prefer them to be, I want every bloom to be a different shade or different tone. That's what I was going for. It's not always 100%, but we got to roll with the punches. Okay, next row, working into the aquas and the blues. This is that light seafoam, one of my favorite light colors. And then I took the darkest shade in that family, which is Ocean. So it's a dark teal. And then we have maroon. So we're getting more into the true blues. And then finally, a great punch in the gut, the old Royal. Now the Royal wakes me up. Reminds me of the marching band, gets me out of bed in the morning. I feel like when you put a royal blue into the mix of a rainbow or a spectrum, it just like wakes everybody up. That's how I feel. I don't know. I have very dramatic explanations for colors, how they make me feel. Some wake you up, some get you out of bed in the morning, some give you a reason for living. Here we have Amethyst. I love that. Now here's the one, might be my favorite color of the whole thing, and I didn't even know it. Taffy. Forget about it. Taffy, where you been? Where you been, Taffy? I don't even know, but I love that color. I thought my favorite color was Peony. Okay, now there is a tiny little circle center in the Flower Power stencil. I'm, however, going to stamp my centers using the Geo Flower Building stamp set. It's got a tiny little dot too, a little dot for a floral center. So you could blend the center, you could stamp the center. I even thought about putting an embellishment for the center of each all the blooms. I thought about it. I was close to doing it, but I decided to stamp it. And now this is a lot of stamping. I'm using the same colors that I blended with for stamping, but I do stamp it twice to make it nice, so it's got a real pop. As I was doing this, I was kind of kicking myself for not just blending the centers while I had the stencil out. But here's the thing. Didn't even think of it. Didn't even think of it until after, and that's how it goes a lot of times. You know what I mean? Okay, finishing this off. I didn't show everyone, but it was a lot of stamping. I worked the hinge on that Misty, let me tell you. Okay, for sentiment, this is the You Rock stamp set. I'm going to emboss this Sending Love in gold on vellum. So I prepped the vellum with that Simon Says Stamp powder tool, inking it up with Versamark ink. Not stamping it once. You're going to chuckle. That's 2 times. Here we go with 3. You think that would be good, but no, we're going 4. Like one of these days you're going to watch me emboss and I'm going to just stamp the sentiment 10 times. Sometimes I just get in the zone and I just keep stamping that Versamark ink. I don't know why, but I feel like if I get the best coverage, I'm going to get the smoothest embossing that the world has ever seen. Using the coordinating die for that You Rock little sentiment. And can I just take a moment to appreciate all the sentiment dies out there? It brings joy. Popping this up on a buttercream card base, little slivers of strategically placed foam tape behind that embossed sentiment. Put it right smack dab in the center. Gonna finish this off with a few. These are the new Starshine clear embellishment mix. My favorite. Now there were a few little boo-boos that I made and they chapped my khakis. So here's my little secret. I take a white gel pen and I go over it. It's like the card maker's concealer. No one's ever going to know the difference. There you have it. Sending love with the flower power. I love that spectrum of color using repetition. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sending you some love today. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.
Hi there, I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at simonsaysstamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.